Evolution has had millions of years to fine-tune nature's designs, yet somehow, we ended up with this. Let's take a look at Mother Nature's quirkiest, weirdest, and most baffling evolutionary success stories. Here's a fish that looks like it lost a fight with a tumbleweed. The hairy frogfish, Antenarius striatus, isn't just weird, it's a top-tier ambush predator. Instead of swimming like a normal fish, it stomps around on the ocean floor, using its fins like makeshift legs. That's right, this little oddball walks. But that's not even the strangest part. The hairy frogfish is also a pro angler. It comes with a built-in fishing rod, complete with a tiny, wiggling lure attached to its head that tricks prey into swimming straight into its mouth. And when it strikes, it happens in just 6 milliseconds. That's one of the fastest attacks in the animal kingdom. To pull off this sneaky hunting strategy, they lurk in tropical and subtropical waters worldwide, preferring rocky habitats and coral reefs where they blend in perfectly with their surroundings. Evolutionary genius or nature's funniest mistake? You decide. At first glance, the glass frog, Centralinidae, looks like your standard tiny green tree frog, except for those eyes, of course. But flip it over and you can see all its organs. Heart, intestines. It's a full-on anatomy lesson. So, why does it look like an anatomy diagram that came to life? Scientists believe its translucent skin helps it blend into its surroundings, making it harder for predators to spot. Essentially, this frog's entire survival plan is pretending it's not there. And what about those strange white eyes of some species? Researchers believe these unique patterns help break up the outline of the eyes, making it less obvious to predators. It's nature's way of keeping them hidden in plain sight. Glass frogs survive in the humid rainforests of Central and South America and spend most of their time perched on twigs or leaves over streams, where their near invisibility gives them the perfect edge against predators. Can you believe that nature gave us a bug that couldn't decide what it wanted to be? It hums like a hummingbird, hovers like a hummingbird, and even drinks nectar like a hummingbird. With a wing beat of approximately 69 flaps per second, it moves just like a tiny hummingbird. This insect with an identity crisis is the Hummingbird Hawk-Moth, Macroglossum stellatarum, and it can easily be mistaken for the real thing. Found across Europe, Asia, and North Africa, these moths inhabit a variety of environments, from coastal areas to gardens, woodland edges, and urban spaces. Evolution really outdid itself here. If anything deserves a round of applause for effort, it's this little fellow. And maybe me for this wacky content, so please give the like and subscribe buttons a little pat. What happens if you mix a fox, a deer, and a wolf? You get the maned wolf, Chrysocyon brachyurus, a long-legged canid that roams the Cerrado grasslands of South America. And those long stilts help it see over the tall vegetation in one of the world's most biodiverse ecosystems. But despite its wolfish appearance, it's not a wolf at all. It doesn't even hunt like one. In fact, its closest relative isn't a fox or a wolf, but the bush dog, Speothos venaticus. Unlike pack-hunting wolves, the maned wolf is a solitary forager, hunting small prey like rodents, birds, and reptiles. But here's the weird bit. Around 50% of its diet is fruit, especially the wolf apple, a fruit named after them, which even helps protect them from parasites. So, to recap, too long to be a fox, too thin to be a wolf, and too fruit-loving to be either. This wrinkly little beastie might not win a beauty contest, but it's practically a superhero in disguise. The naked mole rat, Heterocephalus glaber, is immune to cancer, doesn't feel pain from acid, and can survive without oxygen for 18 minutes. Oh, and it can live over 30 years. That's longer than any other rodent. So what's its secret? It all comes down to where it lives. Burrowing through the hard-packed soils of East Africa, naked mole rats spend their entire lives underground, where oxygen is scarce, carbon dioxide is high, and tunnels are packed with colony members. To survive, they evolved a bizarre metabolic trick. When oxygen runs out, they switch to using fructose for energy, just like plants. And since digging through acidic soil would be excruciating for most animals, they've lost the ability to feel certain types of pain, making them immune to acid burns. Nature's weirdest rodent? Maybe. But when it comes to survival, the naked mole rat is in a league of its own. So, here we have a critter that looks like a rabbit and walks like a deer. It has long ears, hooved-looking feet, and strangely elegant deer-like movements. But the Patagonian Mara, Dolichotis patagonum, is neither rabbit nor deer. It's a rodent most closely related to guinea pigs and capybara. It's not a hybrid of different species. Evolution simply took a weird turn and shaped it into a rodent that looks like something else entirely. And if that wasn't quirky enough, these rodents mate for life and form nursery groups, where multiple maras raise their babies together in a sort of rodent daycare. They're weird, but also adorably wholesome. Okay, I need you to look at this monkey and tell me this isn't a joke. The Proboscis monkey, Nasalis larvatus, has one of the biggest noses in the animal kingdom. So big that when they call, it echoes. And the females, they love it. In the primate dating world, the bigger the nose, the hotter the monkey. These monkeys thrive in mangrove forests, swamps, and riverbanks on the island of Borneo. And evolution gave them a nose that's the ultimate flex in the primate dating world. Mother Nature, you've really outdone yourself with this one. This fish looks like nature forgot to finish the design. The ocean sunfish, Mola mola, has no real tail, just an awkward stump where one should be, and it can weigh up to 5,000 pounds. It moves like a floating head with fins, drifting lazily through temperate and tropical oceans worldwide. And while it looks slow and awkward, it can dive over 2,000 feet deep in search of jellyfish. They often bask near the surface, soaking up the sun's rays, a habit that earned them their name. But the strangest fact is that the female sunfish is an egg-laying powerhouse, producing over 300 million eggs at a time, more than any other vertebrate. Evolution's design might seem odd here, but let's give nature a heads up for creativity. If this critter didn't exist, you'd think I made it up. At some point, nature took a look at land mammals and said, you know what? Back in the water you go. Or at least, that's what it looks like. The dugong, Dugong, a close cousin of the manatee, but with a fluked tail, is the only marine mammal that's strictly vegetarian. They munch on seagrass like floating lawnmowers, shaping entire underwater ecosystems with their grazing. Where they live in warm coastal waters from East Africa to Australia, they prefer shallow, sheltered bays and mangrove channels, where their favorite seagrass beds grow. Their entire body is basically one giant, blubbery beanbag, except for their nostrils, which sit on top of their nose like a built-in snorkel. Every few minutes, they poke them out for a breath, then sink back down for another round of all-you-can-eat seagrass. Evolution's attempt at a sea cow? Maybe. But these gentle giants have been thriving for over 30 million years. If you crossed a zebra, a giraffe, and a horse, you'd end up with, well, something less weird-looking than this. The Okapi, Okapia johnstoni, is an evolutionary enigma that somehow manages to be both elegant and strange. Even if it has zebra-striped legs, the Okapi isn't related to zebras at all. It's actually the closest living relative of the giraffe. It shares the giraffe's long prehensile tongue, which it uses to grab leaves and even clean its own ears. But unlike its tall cousin, the Okapi hides deep in the dense rainforests of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where it was so elusive that Western scientists didn't believe it existed until the early 1900s. Yes, it looks like evolution sometimes just throws things together and somehow it works. Think these creatures are bizarre? Wait until you see what's next. Click the video on your screen to keep the quirkiness going.